Welcome everyone to the Mastermind Book Club. This is your host, David Diaz, and I just want to say I'm grateful for each and every one of you. We have been on this Mastermind Group Club since October, since the beginning of October. Now marks the 5th month since we've started. So today's class, we're going to review, just to touch briefly upon all the books that we've covered to this date. Some of the books have been inspired by you guys. I know Trudy asked us today to review, well, she asked me actually like close to a month and a half ago to review all the books we've covered. Reggie inspired the last book, which is really, really powerful. I was listening to parts of it today as well. Wow, that is an amazing book, Reggie. 33 Steps to Improve Your Inner Self. That is amazing, by Stuart Wilde. Abdul all the way from Africa, and I know he has a lot of contacts. I'm waiting for him to have other people join, although they might not be as committed as he is to learning and applying at this time of the night out there in Africa. But anyhow, I do appreciate that. So before I get started, I just want to let you know, I completely forgot to upload the review of Stuart Wilde's 33 Steps, and Reggie had asked me for it, and I believe Sharon and a few other people had asked me for it. I completely forgot. I thought it was up. So I'm going to put it up I'll put it up after this call, if you don't mind. It's not a perfect review. Why? Because that book is very powerful, and I consider myself, as Stuart Wilde says, one of these not completely intellectual people, however, someone who's willing to learn, who's willing to show other people the way, but doesn't have every aspect of being top notch. And what I mean by this is I like to grow old, just like one of those old trees, as he says, who's there, and people aren't always throwing stones at it. So that's me, in a good way. So let's get started. When we first started on October 10th or 11th, our first class, we went over the intro to this class, and I think we had 2 sessions. But we had one commitment for everyone. I asked you to make a self-contract. I don't know if each and every one of you got to do a self-contract. However, what I can tell you is that self-contract has changed my life, has also inspired me to be committed to this purpose, to getting other people to grow, to learn, to change, to be more focused on what it is that they want to go after. That contract, that self-contract, basically says that you will read X amount on a daily basis or Monday to Friday. And if you don't commit to reading that minimal amount, as I said, that I recommend everyone to do a minimal amount, then you cut back on some sweets or going out or partying or whatever it may be. Now, I've ingrained this as a habit. I read pretty much every day. Maybe I'll forget a day, but I read so much, thanks to each and every one of you that have inspired me. And there's no specific order on who to start out with, but Trudy, Reggie, Sharon, Abdul, you've all inspired me to make this program work. And that's why we're here, is to make sure that whatever contracts you're committing yourself to, or whatever promise you're making to God or to some spiritual intelligence, they are very similar. So let's keep committed to those self-contracts, and let's keep growing on them, all right? Now, the self-contract is something that I recommend you, even for your kids, because we're coming to an age where it seems that they're easily avoiding rules. They don't want to be committed. They want to just be able to get on into social media and get off and just not worry about anything else, not being committed. That's where this world is heading. So it's going to be a hot commodity in this decade to be highly committed, highly communicative, and as well to show that you're willing to have a contract for yourself in order to commit. better results in your business or somebody else's business, however it may be. So what was the first book that we went over? The first book was Mindset by Dweck. Mindset. Does anyone remember anything from this book? Anyone? Anyone remember anything from this book? Mindset. Well, I'll tell you this before we go in. Yeah, go ahead. Trudy, you're muted there. I know you're trying to talk, but you're muted. So maybe you unmute yourself, or maybe I can unmute you. Let's see here.
I think I just unmuted myself.
Awesome. Trudy. Yes,
Hey.
we finally realized your class here. So thank you. Thank you for inspiring this class.
That book, Mindset, I read it a number of years ago, and it was transformational for me because what it spoke to me about was changing the way I saw things. Always seeing the positive, putting positive twists, seeing things as an opportunity, your failures, whatever, seeing things as an opportunity, shifting the mindset in the way you look at things in a more positive light, or see the positive even in the negative situation. So
Yes.
that was what Mindset did for me a while back when I read it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Sounds familiar to, sounds kind of like what you gathered from it as well, or?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Now, I just want to add a little bit more to that. When I started out in this class, I had a lot of things to do, a lot, and I still have a lot to do. I was always afraid of putting things aside, and I have piles of paperwork accumulating. However, I'm focusing on specific tasks in order that they expand, that they grow, that they're built properly. And that's what mindset is about, is not being able to do everything, but being able to do a few things so that you can expand on it and you can concentrate more deeply on getting it evolved and transformed. Thank you, Trudy. Anybody else want to comment on mindset? So just one other note that I forgot to mention here, that when we started this book club, we have 4 focuses, 4 specific topic focuses on this book club. Number 1 is we'd go over books that are specifically relating to the success mindset. So obviously, a book by the name of Mindset will go along with the successful mindset. Number 2, high performance habits. We have touched a book or 2 on high performance habits, but we have not gone into many. We're going to start doing that very shortly. Number 3 is business strategies. Who can't benefit from getting some business strategies? I'm pretty certain we all could benefit from getting business strategies, because the more we learn about business, the more we can expand, the more we can build our own businesses or work on expanding whatever it is that we have right now currently. And then 4th is execution. Executing whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that's in your mindset, your high performance habits that you've built, building the business strategies and then executing upon it. So those were the 4 topics. So with Dweck, mindset has hit a home run in our hearts. Why? Because it has brought some focus. I've been able to set aside, I don't know if you have, but I've set aside a couple of tasks that I was trying to do on a daily basis, and it only ate away into the time that I've had to create my own work environment. Book number 2, One Small Step Can Change Your Life by Robert Maurer. Now, Robert Maurer is fantastic. He talks about Kaizen. And he calls upon us to ask ourselves, what is that one small thing? What is that thing that can change our lives? Sometimes we focus on too many things. Sometimes we're unable to leave many things aside. Why? Because we're worried, because our brain tells us, oh my God, what happens if you leave that aside? You're going to lose. You're not going to be able to succeed in life. So remember that in the successful mindset, you will need to put some things aside so that you can concentrate on the smaller things. It's about building yourself with specific tasks in your mind. Robert Maurer. Anyone want to comment on Robert Maurer? Anyone remember anything on that book? One small step can change your life. One small step can change your life. If you notice so far, the first two books, they are on successful mindset, on your mindset, on my mindset, on our mindset. Because if we're able to focus on creating ourselves, then we're able to expand to the next level. Book number 3, Gary Keller, The One Thing. What is the one thing that I can do today such that everything else is easier or unnecessary? Have any of you asked yourselves that question on a daily basis? Anyone? Have you asked yourself, what is the one thing that I need to do today such that everything else will be easier or unnecessary? What is the one thing that I need to do for my family such that everything else will be easier today? What is the one?
Ask that question here and there.
Yep, go ahead, Reg. Yeah, welcome.
How you doing?
Awesome. Glad to have you here. And I know you've got a busy schedule.
I'm just doing this call. I'm gonna get ready for bed. Not immediately, but soon. Let's get up super early.
Okay.
I'm getting like 2:30 in the morning tomorrow, maybe.
Jeez. Wow.
That's kind of like it ties into the one thing. So for me, the one thing typically is like working towards getting up early so that I could have time to get things done in the morning before my day, which is to say, like, I usually get to work 2.5 hours early. And that's just because it's not about the work. It's about doing some things, getting out in front of traffic, just so I don't have to deal with as much of the commute stuff, and getting out so I'm not, bogged down by that, have like a better mindset, being able to get through that and not deal with those elements. So get to work and then sit down and just do things that are going to be beneficial for me and hopefully for others. So, in the sense of like putting out positive quotes and things like that, because it's just setting up a mindset. So the one thing for me is typically just being up early to give myself enough time to set the table for a good day, essentially, to have that time to put into doing some things that's going to set me up so that when it comes time to actually get going and doing real work, as far as the work on the job and everything else, I've at least set the table, for my day to be pretty good.
Thank you. And that's the truth, is that the best time to get anything done is early in the morning for most people. I know that everybody has a different schedule. I know everyone isn't able to allocate that much time. I wish I could wake up at 2:30 in the morning. My wife would think I'm crazy. But instead, what I do is I wake up 1 hour earlier, like what Reggie just described, and start my meditation from the bed. And at the beginning, it was tough because I was falling asleep. But now I can dream on my bed. I can dream while I'm awake. I can dream and create my vision of what I want. But we'll go into that in a few minutes. All right? So The One Thing by Gary Keller offers a lot of information. If anyone wants to go over any of these books and they need this information, just send me a message and I'll send them to you. I'll send you the links. These books are very powerful. I mean, is once enough to listen to these books? Absolutely not. Maybe you can remember the book in one session, and that's fantastic for you. But for most people, we'd probably need to listen to it a few times before we can gather most of the information off it. What book was after The One Thing by Gary Keller? The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. This book concentrated on what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that we need to do on a daily basis so that when we complete those tasks, eventually we'll be able to compound more time into those tasks so that those can get completed and we'd be more successful in our paths. I'd like to know from each of you, how many things have been challenging your mind on in reference to asking yourself, oh my God, what do I do next? What do I do now? What is easier for me to do? Should I get A done or should I get B done? What have you done in reference to this? Can anyone have any example of how they've coped with this type of clash in their mind? Any challenges getting tasks accomplished? Rudy? Yes? Hey, Trudy, why are you laughing? That's good.
Because you picked on me.
Oh my God. Well, it's
Wow.
either you, Sharon, or Giselle, because Reggie just spoke. So
One thing I can tell you is that when I read the book, The Compound Effect, or when I listened to the audio, everybody that came into my space heard about it because it was so incredible about just the concept of taking one small step consistently over time will transform your world. But you have to take that small step and you have to be consistent. And before you know it, it compounds, and before you know it, voila. So I loved the concept, and I try to teach it to my children, my grandchildren, my siblings, like everybody that I met, my friends, what have you. I try to share the concept of just really taking a small step towards accomplishing whatever that thing is that you're trying to accomplish, and be consistent in doing that. And, you know, over time, don't lose hope, don't lose heart, just be consistent, you know, and you will achieve the end result that seems so insurmountable or so impossible, you know. Now, as it relates to a specific example, have I applied that discipline? I guess my life is a little different from everybody else's right now for the most part, because I have not been in the work world per se, but right now I am building momentum and just taking tiny steps towards, and maybe I am, because I'm doing something every day to help me achieve my end goal. So yes, I have been applying that. I just can't give you like one specific example that I have started to do this thing consistently. But I think if anything, it's probably more keeping my goals in the forefront of my mind. And every day I'm doing something that is helping, or that's moving me towards the goals that I have laid out for myself. So yes, I am doing something.
awesome. Wow. That's very inspiring, Trudy, that you've been able to touch people's lives through one book. I mean, how else can you imagine that? And I know you didn't plan for that. I know that it was not set in stone that you're going to do this, but all of a sudden you're changing people's lives through one book. And that is the purpose of this class, to impact each other through the books that we read, to improve our own standing with our family, with our work environment, with our business creation, with our leisure time. And sometimes it comes through crazy ideas, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Trudy. Thank you, Trudy. Anybody else want to share on The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy? If you remember, because sometimes we have loss of memory, and that's okay. That's normal with some of us as you guys get to my age. So the next book after The Compound Effect is Think and Grow Rich. We went over this book in December, and we took about 3 weeks to go over this book, because this book is one of the most read books in the world, aside from the Bible. It's one of those books that is life-changing. It's one of those books that if applied regularly to your life, eventually you will succeed. You will succeed. You're going to probably fail a few times here and there, but eventually you will succeed. So this book is worthwhile reading over and over again. But there are other books that are worthwhile reading over and over again, as I found out, thanks to all of you. What book did we cover right after Think and Grow Rich? We went over Chris Holder's Tips to Success. And we had Chris Holder on an interview in this class. And he's one amongst many other people. We're planning to get Ari on next week, Thursday. For anyone who's interested in creating a book, either on their own or as a collaboration together, we can work that together here in this class, if you don't mind. Is anyone interested in creating their own book or chapter or 2 chapters of a book?
That's something that I would probably want to do down the road. And many times I've sat down in my mind and I've written a book or 2, or at least started, but I don't have the focus to get it done right now because I have so many other greater priorities. Yeah,
Got it.
It's something that I'd love to do down the road.
So as Trudy says, we all have projects, and sometimes we have to put things aside to get it done, and that's normal. Like for me, I wanted to get started on building my next book in January, and I couldn't do it. I'm going to do it in the next week or 2. I'm going to start putting it together because I've had to put some priorities ahead and then to focus on the 2 books that I want to write this year. So Trudy, I'm on the same task, but if you need accountability, if you need pushing, because accountability is not just checking where you're at, and if you're doing what you're doing, we've got to push each other, all right? Yeah. That's real accountability. It's not about just saying, oh, did you do what you said you were going to do? No. Why didn't you do it? That's what accountability is about. Okay, how do we commit to getting you to doing it? The self-contract is one of those commitments, right? So Think and Grow Rich, the title says it all. Think, and you can grow rich. Is money everything? No, but I'm certain it can buy happiness. It can buy other people's happiness. It can buy many things. It is a game. Money is a tool that can be used wisely for good, or it can be used improperly. But if in our cases, we're trying to focus on using it for good, for the balance of our lives as well as other people's lives that come in, that cross our paths. What was the next book? Now this book. Funny, all right? Because, well, how did we start out? I had a confession to make. Trudy, Gisela, Sharon, Reggie, Abdul, I'm weird. Why? Because this book, when I read it, that's the truth. We are all weird. Now, I forgot to put the author of this book. Does anybody remember the author? We are all weird. Let's see. I'm on the computer here, find out who it was. We are all weird. Give me a second here. We are all weird. The book was written by Seth Godin. That's who it was. Now, he is a marketing expert. He is a mentor to me and to many people that I've had as clients in the advertising industry. Seth Godin, in writing this book, has explained something of a reality to many of us. Many of us want to make it successful. Many of us want to reach millions and millions of people. But he has said that has passed. That time of reaching millions and millions of people has passed. You have to reach your specific niche, whether it's young people in their 20s, whether it's people who like the color pink, whether it's people who like to work at night, whether it's people who want to wake up at the graveyard shift hours. Whatever it is, you've got a specific niche that you've got to cater to. Don't cater to everyone. Don't be so generic. Be more specific in whatever it is you're trying to do in your life. It doesn't get any more specific than that. building and finding out what is your niche is key. All right. For me, I started out with writing out the book Society's Secrets. And now I'm going to get into more specific topic, inheritance secrets. Why? Because each and every one of us is meant to have an inheritance. However, not each and every one of us receives it, and not each and every one of us applies it and lives by it. So it's time to offer this type of information from my perspective, hoping to reach out to many people to be able to impact their lives into their inheritance secrets. We are all weird. One last note on that. When Seth Godin goes into this book, all right, he goes into the tribes, the rise of tribes and the end of the normal. What are the tribes? It's specific groups of people, smaller groups of people, instead of just having a generic group of people. Okay, that's it. We are not all simply Americans. We are all specific Americans according to wherever we grew up, according to the people that we hang around with, according to the people that we're willing to grow with. And that's why I like each and every one of you, is because you've taken out time out of whatever normal life you have in order to rise as a tribe, as a tribal nation, learning together in a specific format so that we can grow our minds together. Book number 10, Financial IQ by Robert Kiyosaki.
Woohoo!
This book is great, and it really helps your money. It really helps you in the game of money. All right. Now, Robert Kiyosaki is fantastic. Does anyone want to say anything either on Wheel or Wheel Financial IQ? Robert Kiyosaki? Anything. Because I depend on you for information as well.
Man, I made so many notes on this book.
Right?
And
I remember that. You said that. That's right. I remember that. Yes.
And several others too. But on this one here, just looking over my notes, it says financial intelligence solves money problems.
Yes. And as I tell people, we all have different accounts, but among the more important accounts, obviously, are your financial account, but your knowledge account is much more important. Mm-hmm. Financial IQ covers both of these. To me, he covers both of these. Your financial account as well as your knowledge account. Because most people don't know the rules about money. And
this is correct.
The rules about loans. Most of us are afraid to take loans. Why? Because we're taking them out for the wrong reasons. We're taking them out to buy clothes, to buy cars, to buy whatever gadget we want. But how about investing it in a house? How about investing it in some business? How about investing it in something that will give you a return? That's what financial IQ is about. Financial IQ is about learning the rules of money, how to make it work for you. Robert Kiyosaki and his wife focus on loans. Loans can work in your favor if you know how to use them. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into researching how to take advantages of using loans to purchase a house, to invest in a business, or whatever it may be. There are ways to do that. The next book, and this book knocked it out of the park for me. And compared to Think and Grow Rich, I think this book has made it so much more easier. And this book is none other than The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. I love his name. Jonas? No, Wallce. That's Gisela. Hold on.
Tell me.
Mute her on there. See? There we go. So this book has really impacted my life, and I hope it has impacted yours. It has impacted my life so much that I listen to it regularly on a daily basis. Maybe not the whole book, but 20, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever I can get out of it. Why? Because I have taken this task to heart. I meditate on a daily basis before I get up from bed. I imagine everything that I want in my life, how I want it, why I want it, the business that I want to be in, the people that I want to impact, those that I want to assist with working, because most people want to work. We're not here to change all of their lives in that we should get them rich, but we can assist them by providing them a job, because that's what they want. You know, we're not assigned to change every person's life in this world. We're assigned to create a better environment for those around us, to show people that I was poor once and I am rich. You were poor once and you are rich. You, Trudy, are rich. You, Sharon, are rich. Abdul, you are rich. Reggie, yeah, we know you are rich. Gisela, you are rich. But are you realizing that? Are you accepting it? Are you living by it? I feel rich. Do you feel rich? Is it hard to feel rich? Is it? Trudy, is it hard to feel rich?
No, I just wake up in the morning and think rich.
Exactly. Sharon, is it hard to feel rich if you can talk? I don't know if you can talk.
No, it's not hard to feel rich. It's very easy.
Thank you, thank you. I love the giggles. That makes me feel good too. Gisela, is it hard to feel rich? If you can talk, if you're listening. And I know, whoops, is she on? Is she off? Don't know.
Yeah, Gisela is there. She's probably just muted.
I muted her, so she was probably confused. I unmuted you, Gisela, if you want to talk. But do you feel rich, Gisela? Is it hard to feel rich?
To me, it is, yeah.
It is
My
hard.
life right now is like a roller coaster.
Okay, so let's make a very simple comparison. Can you walk? Can you walk?
Yes, yes. I have
Can
a
you
lot to be grateful for. Absolutely.
Can you see?
Yes,
Can you help your family?
I do. Yes, and I can.
Can you provide love?
Yes,
Do you have a loving environment?
I do.
You're a millionaire. Shut up.
There you
Okay?
go.
You're a millionaire. Okay? Let's continue on here. You're a millionaire. We've got to talk beyond that. But please note, you are a millionaire. And that's what I want you to tell yourself. No matter what you're going through, it's your mind trying to confuse you and to tell you, Gisela, you're not capable. You're weak. You're slow. And you've got to tell your mind, shut up. I don't need to hear this right now. I know I'm powerful. I know you're afraid, mind, but I know I've got it. I'm a millionaire. All right, Gisela? And everyone else? All right. Thank you.
That's right.
That's right. That is true. That is true. Abdul, I know that you might not be able to speak, but if you are, you can always unmute yourself. But if you can, we'll gladly listen to you. Reggie, I know you're a millionaire, right, Reggie? Is it hard?
No.
That's right. And every time I'm around you, I feel I'm around a millionaire. Every time I'm around you, Reggie. And that's how the feeling that I get.
Billionaire status?
What's that? Say that again.
Can't you just put me at billionaire status?
Listen, trillionaire. All right. You're on your path to a trillionaire. All
Actually,
right?
I could say that too. No, seriously, it's beyond money anyway. So
Yes.
if you think about it, here's how it works. It's either you're the person or you're next to the person who's the person. So either way, you're still the person. Because if you're next to the person who's the person, which doesn't mean you're not the person, that means you're the person. And that sounds a little bit crazy, but what I'm basically saying is if you can think it, if you can believe it, if you can see it, if you can act it or whatever, you are it. Just because you haven't realized it doesn't mean you're not that. But then reality is that because you haven't realized it yourself, you can very easily be in the company of people who have. And just because you're in that company, it tells you that the fact that you're in the company of people who are doing it, that you belong there, which is to say, if you don't currently have it, you ought to have it. So
Yes.
that's kind of how I put it together.
Correct. Thank you.
You gotta
Thank
believe. You gotta believe. That's one of the principles in Think and Grow Rich is that thoughts matter and thoughts are things. You may not already achieve it, but you have to think it. And the law of attraction is whatever you think, even if it's in your subconscious, you're going to attract that thing to yourself.
That's right. That's right. Whatever the mind can believe, it can achieve. Whatever the mind can believe and conceive, it can achieve. Thanks to
But
Napoleon Hill, right?
I'll add one more thing to that, because
Go ahead.
here's where it's not about arguing with people, because I have conversations like this all the time and I leave it as is. It's kind of like, you think about what Henry Ford said: if you think you can or you think you can, either way you're right. So if you don't believe it, you're actually right, because you're gonna get whatever it is that you believe. And if you
Correct.
do believe it, you're actually right too, because you can actually get what you believe. And just
Correct.
because you believe it and you don't get it doesn't mean you can't have it, because you could be doing things in the midst of that could be stopping you from getting it. But the reality is that either way you're right, but I'd rather be right with getting the most out of life than to be right and getting less out of life. That makes sense.
I like
Yes.
that attitude, Reggie.
Awesome, Reggie. Awesome nuggets. Thank you for that. That is a reality. That is definitely the reality. And Reggie, the first part that you said about being a millionaire, and you're either around millionaires and you're feel like a millionaire or billionaire or trillionaire, whatever you want to feel, you should feel more than the average person. You should believe it. And not only that, you should act it.
True. I mean, my
And
boss is one of the 10 richest people in the world. So, I mean, I'm 1 degree.
Bloomberg, yeah.
Yeah, 1 degree. I can
That's
literally
right.
like walk right. He could pass me, would be within inches of me. Does that mean I'm not that? Well, it just shows you how close you are to that, whether you actually have it or you don't currently have it. You are
Correct.
next to it. You're so close to it. So that means you might as well be it as well.
Yes, that is true. Thank you. Thank you. And the beauty of all of this is, it's okay if you don't feel like you're a millionaire right now, but you are a millionaire. Sometimes we just need each other to realize that. And the stories that each and every one of you can share can make an impact in not only your life, but in other people's lives, like you wouldn't believe. So The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles is a powerful book. Thank you for recommending it. I believe, Reggie, right? You recommended this book?
I don't know. I recommended the last one. That book I've read or heard a bunch of times too, but I'm not sure.
Or was it Sharon, maybe? I don't remember who recommended it.
I would have though.
But yeah, I love this book, The Science of Getting Rich. I'm listening to it regularly, and I'm gonna keep listening to it along with the most recent book that Reggie recommended. So we got 2 more books to go. Make Your Bed. Little things can change your life. Isn't that the truth? Little things can change your life. Don't focus on the big things. We always focus on the big things. Why do we focus on the big things? Why? The big things are much easier, or so we think they are. But when we focus on the little things, the bigger things are easier. They are, once you do the little task of making your bed, as General, I forgot what his name is. Geez, forgot to write it down. The author of this book states that was his first task of the day, is making his own bed. So that way, when he got home, no matter how stressed he was, or no matter how much work he had that day, at least he did his first task of the day. He made his bed. So for you, it might be reading, it might be meditation, it might be prayer, whatever it may be. It might be taking a cold shower, who knows? I love to take cold showers, maybe for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And I've been practicing that all winter long. It is wild, insane, but it is really, really good for you. So make your bed, whatever it may be that you're going through right now. There is always something that you can do so that it makes you feel better, more relaxed. Isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the last book that we've gone over which is a book recommended by Reggie, and I love this book. I don't have all the details behind it, in that it is a powerful and succinct book. Deep Work by Cal Newport. Wait, oops, I got two more books. Sorry, Deep Work by Cal Newport. It has impacted me. Why? Because I've put aside a lot of the crap that I was doing. They're all important, but I just said, you know, if I keep trying to do everything and pleasing everyone, I'm not going to get a lot done. Deep Work by Cal Newport has shown me that I've got to be able to set aside X amount of time so that I be able to be more productive. So once I do my taxes in the next few days, I'm going to start writing a book. And that's why next week we're going to have Ariane come on and interview her and see if anyone is interested in writing their own book, maybe a chapter, or maybe 2 chapters, whatever it may be. Let's work together so that we can build it. Deep work involves you taking out time so that you can build whatever task it is that you want to focus on. Just like the Harry Potter series was created by, J.K. Rowling. When I didn't even know it was a she, and most people didn't know it was a she, that one of the books was done while she was in London, staying at a specific hotel, where across the street from the hotel there was a castle, and that scene inspired her to write more. So wherever it is that you need to go to do deep work, whether it's in a cabin, in your home, outside of your home, in your car, like I have, like I wrote my last book inside my car, then do what you've got to do to create that deep work. All right? Now, the last book is the one that Reggie recommended, which is Stuart Wilde's 33 Steps on Improving Your Inner Self. Stuart Wilde goes into Taoism, it's the same word. It's just that the Asians could not decide on whether to pronounce it with a D as in David or a T as in Tom. And in the end, it's Taoism, although it's written with a T as in Tom. This book is amazing. I tell myself on a daily basis, there's one specific thing since I've read this book, and I want to thank Reggie for recommending this book. I do tell myself, I am God. Why? Because God is within me. Plain and simple. I am God because God is within me. I am made as a reflection from God. I am made in God's image. All right? So remember that. Maybe that's not powerful for you. Well, I have this other one that I got out of this book. There are 33 of them. So I've gotten a few of them, but I like these in the immediate. And you can pick whatever it is you want. One, as I told the group that was on the call last week, pick one of these 33 steps. They're all really good. You know, I noticed that when you start to build a business, you want to give it all away to people. Did you know that's really bad, giving it all away? Stuart Wilde goes into describing when you're trying to assist someone, don't give it all away in one shot, because then you don't have anything else to give. And giving it all away doesn't imply that they're going to use it all. Right? So just give enough so that people are able to utilize it. How does that sound to you? Anyone?
Practical.
Practical. It does. It is practical. Most people want everything. They want to know, how do I heal cancer? How do I heal it right now? Did you know that if you give all the information out, they're not going to do much? Most people will not. Unless they're paying for it up front, then they might do it.
Yeah,
but I don't think
get in the game.
They have to be in the game. They have to realize that they have to make a total change, transformation. They have to evolve. All of that counts. Another thing that I learned from Stuart Wilde, or I'd like to ask you before I go into my own, anyone, what did you learn from Stuart Wilde? What's one thing that you learned from Stuart Wilde? 33 steps to change your inner self.
That's a big question, Dave.
One thing.
He probably said you first have to acknowledge it before you can change it. Did he say that?
Say that again. Say it again.
You first have to acknowledge something before you can change it.
Correct.
Did he say that?
Yes. Correct. So our mind will constantly tell us, we can't do that. We're not good enough. Why do we think that we deserve to go beyond everybody else? Aren't we comfortable where we're at right now? And what did he say to tell our brains? You know, I understand that you're scared. It's okay, but I'm going to do this anyhow. You see, the way that I can explain this to each and every one of you is when I started riding out motorcycles, I was afraid. I was scared. But I still went and did it anyhow. I went through these terrains that were so muddy and are only meant for cows and horses. Anyone would be afraid to go through these hilly terrains that were downhill, and you just be afraid. I was afraid, but I did it. And that is why I realized that you have to take these risks on these crazy ideas that you might have and just say, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to apply it. I'll get somebody to keep me accountable, seriously, not just someone to talk to on a weekly basis, say, hey, did you do this? No, challenge you to make sure you're doing the task, to make sure you're going beyond whatever it is that you need to do.
Hey, Dave, I'll say something about even recommending this book. I don't recommend it to like everybody, and even here, I was maybe gonna go a different route with even recommending other stuff because I tend to like try to look at things a little differently and try to get access to things that other people are not necessarily accessing in terms of books and information. So I thought for not just necessarily say for this group, but for many people, in my estimation, I believe a book like this is a bit much. Yeah. And it's almost like if I was to give that, if I'm worrying about how people perceive me or what I'm going into or what I'm attempting in my life or what I'm trying to gather, they might go, wow, this guy, I don't know, he's weird or he's deep or whatever. And I would, if you worry about that, then that's, what you potentially have to contend with. But if you don't, yes, it's sort of like, my thing is like, just give it. Because, there's a short list of people I've given the book to. And I have a coworker who, all the books that I've given, he's 25 now. He listens to this stuff like over and over and over again. And in fact, we have a rotation of Stuart Wilde books and some other books that he listens to religiously. So, if I was thinking about it, like I said, I wouldn't have gone that route. I would have just recommended maybe something like The Science of Getting Rich or one of those types of books. But because this book it's got so many layers to it. And for me, I know a lot of people are not ready for it. So it's kind of like when you're just basically trying to live, barely just trying to get by every day. You're not trying to get out of the day, get something out of the day, and get something out of your life. Something like this you would never even contend with because it's just so much. Like, who the hell's trying to do 33 things to like improve their life to some ultimate level to get themselves to a place where they've elevated themselves beyond the norm? No, many people aren't. They're just trying to basically get through the day, basically trying to pay a bill, trying to, as they use the word, survive, those types of things. And I don't believe in that philosophy, so I don't abide by that, and I don't follow that particular practice, that particular way of life. So that's really my little piece on the Stuart Wilde. Because I have other books of his as well that are pretty, in aggregate, are pretty. He goes into some esoteric stuff, but if you can get past some of that and just stick with the other stuff, it can pay dividends.
So thank you, and I do have a question. Isn't it wild how he goes into some esoteric things, and you can go off on a tangent, but if you stay focused, isn't it good? Exactly.
It's the stuff, but there's a term where whether you may not like a person or like some of the things that they're about, and there's a term I'm sure you know the term to have like cognitive dissonance, where you because somebody, it could be Hitler, it could be Donald Trump, it could be whomever, and you go, I don't like him, I don't like her, I don't like what they're about, they're saying some weird stuff or whatever. So you, because of your cognitive dissonance, you shut off to everything they have to say. And that's where we come up short, because the same people that could be the persons that you fully dislike or could be, you know, harmful in many other ways could say that one thing that you could actually use if you stay open that could turn your life around. So yeah, if you could stay focused on the material and not go off so much and think, oh, this is weird, this is, oh, I don't understand, and just kind of stay on the course, you can definitely come away with a lot more.
Yes, yes, that's right, that's right. And thank you, Reggie, for recommending that book. That book is powerful as well. I was listening to part of it again today. And this Thursday, we plan to go over that book a little bit more, because I was asked by a few people if we could go over that book, because they found a lot of material in it, just like I did. And that book is amazing. I did a review of it, but I was like, man, is this review worth it? And I just feel like there's so much more to be learned in this book. There's so much more that is offered. And you don't have to know everything in a book, but apply at least one thing. And that's all that we're asked. And a lot of these books leave similar clues to all of us. We don't have to learn everything, but we do have to do at least one thing in order to get ahead. Everything else will fall into place. Isn't that right? Charles, hey Charles, welcome to the call, Charles. So I don't know if all of you have any questions on any of these books, or if you have any suggestions on books you'd like to listen to. I have a format. I'm going to try and go into books that are specifically related to high performance habits. And a lot of these books do start out on this path, from the science of getting rich to making your bed to deep work and to the 33 steps. These books go into the high performance habits, but the reality is most of us are not accustomed to listening to it, and much less to doing them, to applying them to our lives. Meditation is highly, highly important. And in 3 weeks' time, I'd like to be able to do another meditation session in this class, but we will have the assistance of hopefully none other than Ruth. Ruth does a lot of meditation. If she can make it, she'll be able to do it. If she cannot, then we'll do it again on our own, because people also asked about the meditation, if we can do it again, because they felt good, they felt more focused. Meditation should be applied to your life as much as possible. I'm trying to apply it daily. What do? I wake up an hour early, and since my wife doesn't want me out of bed that early in the morning, I stay awake and I start to meditate in bed. How did I come across this? I just asked myself, what can I do? What can I do? I need to wake up earlier. I need to be able to apply myself. So as Reggie was speaking and saying that he wakes up at 2:30 in the morning, I can't do that yet. I would love to do that. He inspires me to do that. You should be inspired to do that by everyone else who's speaking here, whether it's Reggie, whether it's Trudy or myself, anyone here. You should be inspired to do something different to improve your life. That's what these books are all about. That's what they should be leading you to improve in your lives. So this Thursday, we're going to go over again the 33 steps. And if you cannot make it, I understand it. That's why we're going to do these recordings. Like this class is being recorded for people like Charles, who just got on the call a little bit late. But the reality is that we're here to grow together. This class is for you. It's meant for you. You're able to make it here. That means you're able to grow here. You're going to get the nuggets from this class. If you want more nuggets from this class, give me a call. Send me a message. Can you talk? I do have a calendar, and it might not be workable for everyone, but if it is workable for you, then get on my calendar. If not, send me a message and say, hey, can we talk later on today? I'll let you know. Trudy tried to reach out to me today earlier, but I wasn't able to speak, and I tried to get back to her. I had her on my mind, and I'm really sorry, Trudy. I let you down. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
But
You
we-
didn't. I understand, David.
But tomorrow's
you.
another day, and we'll be able to talk. I'm really appreciative of some of these books you recommend, Trudy, as well as everybody else. Charles, as I said earlier, if you have a specific audio book or book you want to go over, let me know, and let's try and see how we can schedule it in. All right? So everyone, this class is now over. We have gone way over this class, almost an hour. But I want to thank you, because at 5 months into this class, I only asked if I could have 1 or 2 people that I can cater to, and I know I have many more of you, and I feel honored to be here hosting a class that each and every one of you can, at any moment, educate, train me and everybody else on. So I want to thank you. That's how a mastermind works. We're here to learn from each other. All right? Before we go, any last questions? Going once, going twice. Sold to no questions. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have made a successful mastermind book club the way it should be. So again, this Thursday, we're going to go over the 33 steps to changing your life from within. And then next week, we're going to have a new book. And I'm gonna post it by tomorrow morning, a new book. All right? So everyone, have a great evening. Thank you. I am honored to be your host. I'm honored to serve. If you need any assistance with anyone, how can I help you? Reach out. Contact me. Have a great evening, everyone. God bless you more and more.
Thank you, David. You as well, and everybody on the call.
Trudy,
Good night.
thank
Thank you.
All right. Good night,
you. Good
everyone.
night,
Thanks, Dave.
Giselle. Good night, Reggie. Good night, Charles. Good night, Sharon. Abdul, thank you, thank you, thank you. Take care, everyone. Have a blessed evening.